Have you ever wondered if we still need to follow God's commandments? Some say Jesus ended the law.
But what did Jesus himself really say?
In Matthew 5:17, Jesus said, "Do not think that I have come to destroy the law or the prophets. I did not come to destroy, but to fulfill."
The word fulfill here means to complete or make perfect, not to get rid of. Jesus was showing us how to live by God's law.
Jesus said that God's law, the law found in the Old Testament, will remain in place until heaven and earth pass away.
Since the earth is still here, it's safe to say God's commandments are still relevant for believers today.
Then Jesus gave a warning. He said that if anyone breaks even the least of the commandments or teaches others to break them, they will be called least in the kingdom of heaven.
But those who follow and teach God's law will be called great in his kingdom. Keeping God's commandments really matters in our walk with God.
In verse 20, Jesus told his followers that their righteousness must be greater than the Pharisees.
But how is that possible? Weren't the Pharisees experts in following God's law?
Actually, the Pharisees often followed their own traditions instead of following God's commandments. Jesus even called them lawless. True righteousness comes from humbly obeying God's law, not just looking good on the outside.
What about Paul? Didn't he say we're under grace, not the law?
Yes, Paul said we're under grace, but that doesn't mean we can live however we want. Grace saves us from the punishment of the law, but it doesn't cancel out our responsibility to obey God. Choosing the path of obedience shows our love and gratitude to God for His grace. In Romans 10, Paul also says that Christ is the end of the law.
Actually, you're right. Doesn't that mean the law is finished?
Actually, no. The Greek word for end, which is telos, can mean aim or purpose. Jesus didn't end the law. He showed us how to live it out perfectly.
You're right. 1 Timothy 1:5 uses the same Greek word telos to mean aim or purpose. So Jesus outlines 3 levels of obedience and their consequences. Fully observing God's law, observing parts of his law, but not intentionally breaking the law, and lawlessness that keeps people out of God's kingdom.
So did Jesus say the law is done away with? He made it clear that God's commandments are still important. Following them is not about earning salvation, it's about walking in faith and showing our love for God. Which path will you choose?